What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Wednesday, April 24th. Today is NFL Draft Eve. We are now one sleep away from the start of the 2024 NFL Draft. Washington picks second, has 6 picks in the top 100, and today is going to be my final answer Washington Commanders mock draft. I'll be selecting 8 times with 1 trade. This is what I think is going to happen. Honestly, we normally don't hit on many picks, but we're going to give you our final one. Mock draft season is so much fun, and this is going to conclude the season. The topsy-turvy, I think it's this guy this day, then another guy the next day. This is the finale. We have reached the end game. This is the last of the Mohicans when it comes to Washington Commanders mock drafts. I'll be on with Bleacher Report from 2 to 4 for content creator mock draft, where I'll be picking for the Commanders as well. But I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. We've talked and regurgitated information about the same players for the last few months, and we get to see it culminate into an actual draft class. The first draft class of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn and company coming up starting on Thursday. But let's get right to it. Pick number 2 with the second overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, quarterback, Louisiana State University, the Heisman, the ultra electric, absolute baller out of LSU. I know over the last few days and since Top Golf Gate, there's been a lot of noise out there. There's been a lot of chatter about, does Jaden Daniels want to play for Washington? I don't think it's that Jaden doesn't want to play for Washington. I just think in his heart of hearts, he would prefer to play with a guy he knows, Antonio Pierce, for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's a West Coast kid. He was born in San Bernardino, California. So I can see why he has a preference. And I bet every single quarterback coming out this year would prefer to go to Minnesota over Washington, because Minnesota, that's a spot you want to be. That team's ready to go, weapons galore, and an offensive savant that's going to be there as the head coach instead of an offensive coordinator. He is the offensive coordinator over there. Kevin O'Connell, a guy we know well in Washington. But why is Jaden Daniels the pick? This team is trying to get off the ground running. No, we're not trying to go in with expectations to be the 2023 Houston Texans, but we're trying to hit the ground running, and we want a dual threat quarterback that can kill you with his arm and kill you with his legs. Drake May, liked him throughout the entire process, would not be surprised, nor would I dislike if we picked Drake May. They don't want to spend as much time on the mechanics, on fixing some of the deficiencies Drake May currently has. And after crunching the tape, bringing the guys in, Jaden Daniels is the clear-cut second best quarterback in this draft. Don't care about the frame. He's going to be fine frame-wise. My concerns with him is, please learn how to slide at the next level. Please learn when to get down, and we need to consistently see him throw the ball over the middle. I think Cliff Kingsbury's offense, he's not going to throw him the book right away, but if there's anybody you can throw the book as far as getting them prepared for week 1, it's a 23-year-old who started 55 games in college. Jaden Daniels. We're not Vegas. We are not Antonio Pierce, but we have an AP of our own. His name is Adam Peters, and he is selecting you to be the quarterback of our Washington Commanders. Everybody celebrates. Probably about 47% of the fan base is going to have a whole titty attack about it, have a temper tantrum, but they will be okay. Whoever we pick, let's ride, let's roll, and let's move on to the second round of the draft. But wait, we're not waiting to the second round of the draft. Adam Peters said, congratulations, guys. We got a quarterback, but the job's not finished. Word to Kobe Bryant, the job is not finished. We are going to get back on the board at pick 19. We're going to give up 2 number 2s and a number 3. Not both of our 2s this year. Our second this year, which is pick 36. our third this year, pick 78, one of our 3 rounders, and next year's second, we're going to jump up 17 spots to pick 19 to draft Amarius Mims, tackle, Georgia. This guy is the ultimate enigma when it comes to tackles in the 2024 tackle class. He's played what feels like a handful of games in his college career. I believe he has 8 starts to his name, but the 8 starts, the tape is stellar. It's stellar. He doesn't allow any quarterback hits, no sacks, barely gives up pressures. I believe he only gave up 5 or 6 pressures in the 8 or 9 starts that he had. He's a mountain of a man, 6'6", 340. When I see those numbers at first glance, I say, will his body be able to hold up at the next level? But this dude is a freak of nature. He may move as well as any tackle in this class. And to be that size, to put that height, weight, speed to the fact that he hasn't even scratched the surface of his potential. He's 21 years old. Sign me up. Washington does not have a tackle with near that much upside on the roster. He is your day one linchpin left tackle. Let him learn on the fly. We need somebody to throw Bama's out the club and protect our investment. Jaden Daniels that we just took with the 2nd overall pick of the draft. So to conclude night 1 of the 2024 NFL draft, Adam Peters and the Commanders selected Jaden Daniels at number 2 and moved 2 twos into 3 to move up 13 spots to take tackle Armarius Mims out of Georgia. We are now on the clock at pick 40. A surprise to some, but it should not be. I don't think we have a pure high upside free safety on the roster right now. Like Derek Forrest, like what Percy Butler flashes at sometimes. Percy Butler, he's such a mixed bag. He either looks like he doesn't belong in the NFL or he looks like he's shot out of a goddamn cannon. I need a guy who was born to play the free safety position. And I see a guy that went to Miami University, a university I know pushes out talent at the safety position. His name is Cam Kinchins. Come on down, not Kitchens, Kinchins, Cameron Kinchins, free safety, the U. That's going to be your starting free safety. Plug him next to Jeremy Chin, and that's the most upside we've had here since Sean Taylor and LaRon Landry were standing next to each other at the back of our secondary. I know we need a corner. The corner's coming. Don't worry about that. But Kinchins is a guy who can play sideline to sideline. He can sit back and single high. He can play cover 3. He can play 2 high. He can do a little bit of everything. He can come down in the slot. He has very good coverage skills, and he has good game speed. You're going to look at what he did at the combine and see a 4.6 and be like, hell no, Rio. How you going to take a safety that runs a 4.6? Let me tell you about a safety that once went to Miami named Ed Reed, who ran a 4.57. And that boy tracked the ball as well as any safety we've ever seen in the history of the league. So, there was an Ed Reed. There was a Sean Taylor. Now there is a Cam Kinchins, free safety. Come on now. Kinchins and Jeremy Chin on the back end. I know we need some cornerback help. We have to get something out of last year's first round pick, Emmanuel Forbes, at some point. But through the first 2 rounds of the draft, Washington got their starting quarterback, a linchpin left tackle, and a starting free safety. Moving on to pick number 67, our first of the 3rd round. Remember when I told you in my video the other day that we're going to take a wide receiver sooner than you expect us to? And the time is now. Unfortunately, my guy Xavier Legette was off the board, but we're going to get a guy with a similar profile. We want a thick Debo Samuel type guy, a yak monster. They call him the yak god. Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky, absolute dog, a shade under 6 feet. I know you're going to say, Rio, but we need a big body receiver. You don't need a big body receiver. I think it would definitely be something I'd want to add to the room. Add one of those later, sign one and undrafted like a Cam Sims archetype. But this guy plays much bigger than the 5'11", 215 pounds that he is. He catches everything. He is the yak guy. He makes things happen when he gets the ball in his hand. I want a receiver that once he catches the ball, turns into a running back. Malachi Corley is the epitome of that. If you can't get Xavier Legette, this is the guy you want to add to the receiver room. He is starting on the boundary opposite Terry. Throw Jahan in the slot. You got a wide receiving core. Jaden Daniels has no excuses. He has Terry, who's an inline and vertical receiver with a full route tree. Jahan Dotson has a full-ish route tree in the slot. And Malachi Corley can obviously add to his route tree, but he's a guy you could throw deep. He's a guy you could throw screens to. And you just want to get the ball in his hands out in space because he is going to make shit happen. Leader in yak, the yak god, Malachi Corley is my pick at number 67 in the third round. To conclude the third round, because we traded one, so we don't have 3 picks in the third round anymore. We're going back to the tackle well. I said earlier this offseason, Washington needs to double dip at the tackle position in the NFL draft. Whether that's a tweener or a pure right tackle, something needs to happen at that position because Andrew Wiley is not to be trusted with protecting my quarterback. He's a turnstile. Maybe like the guy who picked him up was the same guy that coached him in Kansas City. It was an offense, a system, a scheme he was comfortable in. And he still got his ass whooped left and right like a drum for the majority of the 2023 season. I need a right tackle. Delmar Glaze out of Maryland, a guy we should know very well because he's right up the road of College Park. He has the versatility. He could be a tackle or guard, just under 6'5", 323 pounds. They say he's raw, but the one thing he does have is power, significant power, and he gets his hands on you quick. Don't need to go too much more into detail about it. You are pairing up Amarius Mims with his tackle on the opposite side, Delmar Glaze. You have went to the tackle well twice in your mock draft with 3 picks remaining. Then we move on to the 5th round. We move on to the 5th round of the draft, and we're going to go to Theo Johnson at pick 139, tight end out of Penn State. Somebody needs to be mentored under the tutelage of Zach Ertz. We didn't bring Zach Ertz here to be a prolific playmaker over the next couple years. He is here because he's a culture setter. He knows Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and he has just enough in the tank to start for one season in Washington while we prepare a tight end to take over the job full-time going forward. And I don't see a better piece of clay to put behind Zach Ertz and actually get on the field this year than Penn State's Theo Johnson. We're talking about a 6'6", 260-pound guy who ran a 4.5. When you see Penn State players at the combine, I don't know what's in the water, what kind of vibranium they have in the water at Penn State, but those guys are always the biggest workout warriors. They light up the combine like no other. Theo Johnson does not have great production so far. I'm cool with it. I like the athletic profile, good vertical, 4.5 40. You can't beat 6'6", 260 with ball skills. He has ball skills. Can he block? Hell no. Do I care? Absolutely not. I don't need my inline dynamic pass catching tight end to have the availability to block. Put John Bates' big diesel ass on the field if you need a tight end to block. Theo Johnson, you're my pick at 139. So we've went quarterback, we've went tackle twice, we've went free safety, and we've went wide receiver and tight end thus far with 2 picks remaining in our draft. It's time to draft a corner. I know you're probably saying, Rio, why haven't you taken a corner yet? Because I'm listening to guys like Jay Tuck, like DMV Fanatic, and like some of these Cowboy fans that I know that said, bro, Dan Quinn and Joe Witt are so good at developing corners. You do not need to draft one high. If you get one in the 4th or 5th round, he's going to turn him into a star because that's what they do. They develop corner. Just get a corner that fits the Dan Quinn profile. Long bodied, height, weight, speed guy. How about a 6'1", 187-pound cornerback out of Boston College, who has good ball skills. Elijah Jones, come down. You are a Washington Commander at pick 152. Come on now, 6'2 corner, 6'2, just under 190 pounds. Great ball skills. He gets beat sometimes. He's a little bit aggressive, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't know what Benjamin St. Juice is. We're going to find out. It's kind of a do or die year for him and Emmanuel Forbes. I see Elijah Jones under the tutelage of Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. He could be developed into our CB1 here. We signed some guys like Noah Igbenogany. We signed a couple guys to put in as depth pieces at the end of the roster. Rashad Wild Goose, Tariq Fields, Castro type players. But we need a guy there in the cornerback room. And I think Elijah Jones could get right in the mix and get right on the field as a rookie. And to conclude and close out my final Commanders mock draft. This one is going to surprise some folks, but I did mention this surprise in my video. With pick number 222 in the 2024 NFL draft, the Commanders select Ryan Recco, punter, BYU. We weren't able to get the Fresno State kid, but we want to get a big leg on the roster. This guy's leg is said to be so big that it's a problem sometime, and he outkicks his coverage more times than he needs to. I'll take it. I'll take it and stash him because we don't know what's going to happen with Tressway. Tressway could retire. Tressway could not be retained after the 2024 season. You never know. This is Tressway's last season under contract with the Washington Commanders. And if we want to be totally honest, I know we had problems at long snapper last year. Tressway regressed last year. He regressed from the best player on the team guy that he's been over his longest tenured career here in Washington. It's time to get a young boot behind Tress to learn the ways. You can stash him on the practice squad until whenever he's ready to take over for Tress. But I'm taking a punter to close the draft. So in conclusion, my final mock draft has us selecting quarterback Jaden Daniels, LSU at number 2, a trade up to pick number 19 using a second this year, next year, and a third this year. We took free safety Cam Kinchins with our 40th pick in the second round at 67. We took wide receiver Western Kentucky Malachi Corley. Then we took tackle Delmar Glaze out of Maryland, tight end Theo Johnson out of Penn State, cornerback Elijah Jones out of Boston College, and Ryan Recco, punter, BYU, to close out the draft. It has been a fun ass draft season going back and forth with all you guys in the comments. We are now one day away from it all beginning. Will we pick twice tomorrow? Will we go Daniels? Will it be McCarthy? Will it be May? We're going to find out in a little bit over 24 hours. We made it to the other side. We are now in the end game. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Fingers crossed for a Adam Peters masterclass. Whoever these guys decide to bring in the building as fans, let's support them. Let's give them all we got. And let's hail to the Washington Commanders. Until next time, Commander Rio, out.